So today I'm reviewing You Should See Me in a Crown. But why did I say it so weird? You should see me in a crown. Okay, yeah, let me read. I don't know why I said like you should see me in a crown. You should see me in a crown. You should see me in a crown. Hi, I'm Dobby, but you can call me Dobbs. Okay. Today I'm reviewing You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. So this book is about Liz Lighty, and she is one of the only black girls in her school. And she has a dream to go to Pennington, which is a college, and her entire plan is to get a scholarship for music because she loves music but she can't afford to go to the university without a scholarship. So that's her plan, but when Pennington emails her and tells her that they rejected her, she decides to run for prom queen. Now, this is important because prom queen in her school, whoever wins gets scholarship money. But also, this is because prom is this whole big thing where you have to do a lot of community service projects, your grades matter, but also like your presentation and who votes for you. It's like not just the voting, there's a lot of different other things that you have to do. Like there's a bake sale and stuff. So whoever wins gets scholarship money. And that's why, because this is Liz's last chance to get the scholarship. But her chances are low because prom queen has been won by the same families, the same popular girls every single year. And Liz isn't exactly popular, so she thinks that her chances are pretty low, but with the help of her friends, she hopefully is able to get there. But a problem strikes when she starts falling for the new girl at school. And this is especially a problem because the new girl is also running for prom. So will this be a problem or a new opportunity? Who knows? So the first thing about this book is that it discusses so many different like modern day world topics and problems, and it discusses them in a really good way. So like it's not just like saying this is a problem and we need to fix it. It's like threading it into the story so that it's like interesting to read about, but also you get a sense of, wow, this is really a problem in our world and we should fix it. And this book talks about racism, homophobia, poverty, and grief. And there's probably more topics, but those were like the main ones in there. And yeah, because of that, it made this book such like a powerful and inspiring book, which is I think one of the reasons why I decided to get it was because I saw it on like people reading it on BookTube, and they were talking about how like it talked about all these topics and how like powerful reading it was. So that's one of the reasons why it like attracted me, which is a good thing. So like if you want to read about these topics, you should read this book. Yeah. So one of the really good things that I found about this book was how diverse the characters are. And by diverse, I don't only mean like their race and their like sexuality and things. I also mean their personality traits. All of the personalities were really different from each other, and I could really I just liked each of the personalities and each of the characters because they all had flaws, but they were also like interesting to read about. I feel like a lot of movies and books and like a lot of media make it so that if there's like a character that's different from being like that's different, for example, if like this is the only black character or the only Asian character or the only like LGBTQ character in like a movie or book, media will make that like their only trait, like being this like minority group. And in this book they did a really good job of like making these people diverse and in different minority groups while not making that like their only trait, like that's the only interesting thing about them, you know? So the only kind of like problem that I had about this book was that it was kind of unrealistic and like kind of predictable. And from the beginning, I had a feeling I knew it was going to happen. When I say unrealistic, an example of that is like, for example, in this book, there are two characters that get into a fight, and I feel like there isn't that much like conflict in that fight. It's just like they get mad over something, and then the next day they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and "Oh, I'm sorry," and then they make up. Like there wasn't anything to the conflict. It didn't affect anything except they got mad and then they said sorry and made up. It was too quick of like a Like, I don't understand why it was there kind of thing. But because it was very, like, unrealistic, it was kind of what you would dream would happen. That made this book a very, like, feel-good book. It's like, if you're kind of feeling down and you want to, like, be happy, this is a good book to read. Because, like I said before, with the problems or conflicts that happen between characters or between the character and the community, they were solved pretty quickly, and they didn't really, like, dig deep into the character, and it wasn't a huge, like, impact, except maybe, like, one or two, like, one of them. Which is why I would describe this book as, like, a feel-good book, you know, that you would read when you, like, are feeling down and you want something to, like, lift your spirits. This book was also really wholesome, and it was really cute. And I loved the main romance in this book because I wasn't expecting there to be a romance. Like, I wasn't expecting the romance in this book to be, like, a major part of it, but it did end up being, like, a major part of the book. But I also enjoyed the friendship dynamics of the main character and her friend, and her friends, multiple. She has multiple friends. Because I felt like that, like, their relationship and how it worked was really, like, fun to read. And it added a lot to the story. I also liked her relationship with her brother. I feel like that was, like, I don't think we get a lot of books where there are, like, good sibling relationships and, like, good sibling, like, cute, fun to read about sibling relationships. And this was one of those where I loved the bond and, like, the dynamic between her and her brother. Yeah. So, like I said before, this book is, it deals with a lot of heavy topics. It deals with, like I said, a lot of different, like, modern world topics. However, it's still, like, a wholesome and, like, cute book. And I feel like that's really, like, good about this book because it's able to deal with, like, these heavy topics, but still make this book, like, soft and, like, a light book to read. It's not, like, a book that's gonna, like, leave you breaking down and, like, it's, like, it's powerful, but still soft, and I feel like that's why it's good for, like, people my age, you know. Yeah. So I know I said that I only had one problem about this book, but here's another one. I feel like the author added a lot of references that are, like, 21st century references that no one really says, and I feel like the author only added them to be like, hey, look, this book is modern, it's contemporary, and to market it like it's a contemporary book. But in reality, no one talks about, like, Beyonce every other sentence. And they're, like, there are references about, like, pop culture like, sprinkled in there. And I feel like they were just forced. Like, why did you have to talk about this person at this time? It doesn't make any sense. And I don't know. There aren't that many books that do, like, references that well. But I just didn't like it. It just felt kind of, like, cringy how they were just there. Yeah. So overall, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. 4 out of 5 stars. And I would recommend it to, I think anyone can enjoy this book theoretically, but I would mostly recommend it to people around my age, so, like, 7th grade, 8th grade, and people that like to read YA, like YA genres. The YA genre, so, like, 7th grade, 8th grade, and high school, I think would enjoy this book the most because this is a book about high school, so I feel like people tend to like reading about characters their age, so, in my opinion. But, I mean, if you want to read it, you can read it. Yeah. So, that would be the end of my book review. If you like this video, then like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Happy reading! Like, I basically only read it for, like, the middle part because the beginning, no.